Hi, I'm Justine. Welcome to English Fiesta. Today, I'm going to talk about how I learned to drive. How I learned to drive different types of vehicles. I grew up on a farm. My farm was in Saskatchewan, Canada. Saskatchewan is a province in the middle of Canada. Saskatchewan has a lot of farms, and I lived on one of them. On my farm, we had a very big yard. Our yard had a lot of grass growing in the yard. My mom taught me how to drive a lawnmower. A lawnmower kind of like this one. Lawnmowers cut the grass so that it's shorter. I would use the lawnmower to cut the grass usually every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks, I would use the lawnmower, like this one, to cut the grass and drive all around the yard to cut the grass shorter. That was probably the first thing that I learned to drive. I think I was probably 11 or 12 years old. When I was a little bit older, my dad taught me how to drive tractors. Tractors like this one. Tractors are good for carrying heavy things and moving them to a different place. I drove a small tractor first, but then I learned to drive big tractors too. I also learned to drive a combine. A combine like this is for harvesting grain. On our farm, we grew wheat, canola, lentils, and beans. We used the combine to harvest our grain. I drove the combine when I was maybe 15 years old. Also, I learned to drive a truck, a small pickup truck like this. Probably also when I was 14 or 15 years old. In Saskatchewan, after harvest, after all of the field is harvested, the field is bare. There's nothing on the field except dirt. So I would learn to drive the truck all around the great big field. There was nobody else there, and there's nothing to run into. There was nothing for me to hit. So I could learn to drive the pickup truck safely when I was 14 or 15 years old. When I was 16 years old, I was able to get my official driver's license, the card that says, "You passed the test. Good job. Now you can drive wherever you want." So then I could drive on all of the highways and all of the roads. I had good practice from when I learned to drive in the field. When I was 18 years old, I was able to get my professional driver's license. A professional driver's license means that I can drive a semi like this. This is called a semi-truck. This was very helpful for my dad because I could drive the semi-truck full of grain. And that means that he didn't have to. He could do something else on the farm, and I could drive the semi-truck. I also drive trucks called grain trucks. The grain trucks are helpful during harvest. The combine harvests the grain and puts it into the grain truck. And then the grain truck drives it to your yard so that you can store it in your yard. So I can drive many different types of vehicles. Do you have a favorite type of vehicle to drive? Tell us in the comments. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you would like to hear more about what it was like to grow up on a farm in Saskatchewan. Bye.